Well, this is a great episode, and we are very inspired by Kristen Klein, who is our special guest today. I'm Janice Jakes, the owner of the Fitness Fest Conference and Expo, and we have Kristen Klein. Her business that she formed is called Convicted Comeback, and we are going to hear what does that mean? What's this all about? And let me tell you that Kristen, I did a I had a phone interview with Kristen. It's probably been a year and a half now when you were a volunteer. You go to Glendale Community College and for the exercise science program. And Louise, who's actually on this call, Louise said, I have a bunch of great students who might want to, be part of your staff. And I interviewed you, and you were so open and so I was so inspired by your story. You had been in prison and you are now going to school and you are turning your life around and you're a different person now. And you said, I am going to bring exercise and motivation to the women in prisons. I'm like, you go, girl. And guess what? So many people say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They don't even say they're going to do amazing things like this, but she did it. She did it. She's doing it. And we are going to hear her story about what's going on, how you did that. And so the name of our title is Celebrate the Power and Possibility of Rewriting Your Story. Let's not be a victim. We all have shit that has happened, and so there it was, the first curse, and rewriting your story. So get started there, Kristen. Tell us your story.
Okay. Hi. Thank you for having me. I guarantee this will get emotional at some point, and I will try to get through this as fluidly as I do when you guys aren't around. But I am just so joyous to be here. I can't take credit for this quote. This is Gary Vee, and I thought it was incredible, and I wanted to really apply it to my life. When I die, I want my gravestone to say, if nothing else, I gave back more than I took. And that resonated with me because I've lived a life where I have taken a lot. I've taken a lot from my family, from my friends, from the community, people I'm not even sure, know that I've taken from them and hindered them. And I didn't want to live like that anymore. So here we go. I was raised in a world that didn't fit me. I was adopted very early, and I was the black sheep of the family. That's how I titled myself. I went through sexual abuse as a very young child, and I was mostly looked at as a liar for that situation. And in that time and generation, things weren't handled and discussed. And I understand that that was a different time then. But it definitely broke me and set the trajectory for the journey that I led. Um, I lived in a very religious home. My parents were Baptist, so religion was a big part of my life. Education was a big part of my life. Both my parents are teachers, counselors, guidance counselors. So education was huge. And I was an athlete. So I had everything going for me, everything the white picket fence style to the visual, um, but not inside. Inside, I was very broken. I graduated high school. I was all star in multiple sports. Um, I had decent grades. I was looking at college. I had been scouted, but I could not wait to get away. And I did. At 18, I answered an ad in a newspaper that was requesting somebody to travel out of state, across the country for the adult industry. And I jumped on it. And I took that scarlet letter A and wore it seriously. And that was my life. With that came money. And with money came power, and with power came what I thought was freedom, but it was not freedom. And with all of that came drug abuse and addiction. And I played that part for a decade. I did get married and I had two beautiful children. My marriage was full of abuse, and I tried to put up with that for over a decade. And then it was my demise. I didn't realize that I could uproot and leave and I could change things. I just flowed with the direction of everything. I didn't realize that that was dangerous. So going along with the flow ended me up in the wrong place at the wrong time. I ended up with a criminal charge and I had to do some prison time for burglary.
In here. Lost your voice there for a second. I don't know what happened. Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. I'm like, my heart is like pounding right now. Don't mute. Oh, don't lose your
Where were
voice. Oh
we?
my gosh. Can I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely, please.
So your parents, you talked about sexual abuse and the, Baptist and all that. Did they not believe they didn't believe you and they didn't support you?
So this has been a long time healing process, but you're talking, I'm an 80s child. So my parents are from the generation that no matter what occurs, you don't talk about it. And then that mixed with a church and heavy religious background, it's everything stays within the church. The church will heal you, whether it does or not. And then you just go back out into life. Um, because the church teaches you to be very forgiving, sometimes um, that makes somebody a liar and somebody a truth teller.
Mhm.
That's basically the sum
Okay.
of my childhood.
Yeah. Yeah. With a few things in between there. Okay, keep going.
Yes.
All right, just a couple things.
They were moments that pinned me as, being sexually abused, a target, the scarlet letter A, now a liar, a storyteller, a victim. I played that role big time because that's what I felt and that's what protected me. So I ran with that role. The money, the power, and everything else that came as a teenager just amplified all that. I did get hemmed up for very petty things, shoplifting, things that I didn't even need to get hemmed up for, rolling around with the wrong people. And I always got the slap on the wrist. So I really thought I was untouchable. Um, I go through marriage and my children, and I tried to be something different. But when you put a mask on, it's just a mask. And underneath, that's all still there. So I was clean, I was sober for the birth of my children. I nursed for 3 years. I loved being pregnant. I loved being a mom. That was the best connection I'd ever had. That's all I ever wanted was something that was my own. So to lose them was heartbreaking. And it was all my doing, which was even worse. Um, I didn't realize it at the time, but losing everything and going to prison was the best thing that ever happened to me. Obviously, as a victim, I thought, poor me, I'm losing everything. My parents are going to raise my children. I'm very lucky for that. I lost my home and my animals, and I divorced finally. But even then, I still thought the world was attacking me. So fast forward, I go to prison and I don't really change there, but I have nothing but time and I focus on me and I start working out. I bring back that athleticism because I have nothing else
Mm.
to really rely on. So I work out and everybody sees Kristin that works out. And I have this counselor and I'm on a hard yard where everybody is hard and I'm pretending to be hard. I thought I was hard because I'd lived in a really dark life. But I guess I wasn't hard. I was pretending. And that counselor saw through it
Yeah.
and he refused to let me stay there. And that was the moment I felt hope Now, I had had a lot of people in my life telling me, do this, do that, you're wrong, be this. I had counselors, I had therapists, my parents, people put hands on you, everybody cares, but they want to fix you instead of listen. And this counselor didn't do any of that, but instill hope by not judging me. And he said, you don't belong here. I will not allow you to stay here. And he bumped me. He reclassed me to minimum. And that was the first moment that I didn't think I was a loser. Um, in minimum, I started working out again, and the women wanted me to train them, which I didn't want to do. But before I hit the gate, I had this moment where I I don't know. It's one of those aha moments. I think it's where I had been praying to whatever my higher power was, which I didn't even understand at the moment, that something would change for me. I didn't know how to obtain that. And I had this light bulb, run a class. I don't teach. I don't care about people. I want to do me. I want to do my time. But teach, okay. So I ran a class. I ran a class on a yard of 350, 75 women joined. It was a 3-month boot camp. Successfully, they all graduated. I ran 2 classes. One was advanced, one was beginner. Um, it was amazing.
Yeah.
The amount, the amount of weight loss across that span of women was incredible, and nothing like that had existed before. That's when I felt purpose. And purpose summed everything up for me. Purpose answered my higher power. Purpose answered why I was here. Purpose answered why I chased after addiction. And I put all those things together and I started to heal. And I realized that that silly little definition of insanity actually meant something. Continuing to do the same thing over and over again and
Yeah.
expecting different results, crazy. But yet I kept doing it. So I applied it. I started changing. I stopped listening to music. I started reading. I absorbed everything I possibly could from anybody that was better off than me, whatever that meant. I left prison. I get out. I go to
How long
school.
were you? How were you there? How long were you there, by the way?
3 years.
Oh,
3 very
wow.
long years, which is nothing compared to most of the women. Long enough for me, thank God. But 3 years.
Were you in Phoenix?
Yes. The only women's prison here is in Goodyear.
Okay.
Yes. So I got out the end of 2020, right at the end of COVID.
Uh-huh.
So not quite lockdown, but a little bit lockdown. It was wonderful because the colleges were doing COVID classes. So I thought this was great. I had the transition of working or school. I applied for scholarships. I received a mind-blowing scholarship from Nina Mason Pulliam, which Leona, that's my biggest supporter.
Yeah, and
And
she's on the call too. Thank you, Leona.
she is, yes.
No, these people that, your counselor and Leona and who knows who else, and there's a couple names that we're going to mention a little bit, these people who made a difference in your life. And there's people out there for everybody, and we
Yes.
just, like you said, a lot of people tried to talk to you, but these particular humans had there's great human spirit and kindness in our humanity, and we need to remember that. So keep going.
Yes. Um, so I get out and it is the end of COVID. I apply for the scholarship. I go to school. This was my theory. If no one's going to listen to me because I'm a felon and I've screwed that up, then maybe they will listen to me if I'm a felon with a degree. So I was going to go back to school. I had never really worked outside of the adult industry, sadly, so I didn't really know anything else. Um, and I started with business. I will complete my associates. I did complete my associates in business, but my heart wasn't there. And it's okay that I didn't start with fitness because I was transitioning, and transitioning from incarceration is really difficult. I was lost. I'm really grateful that I got out to my parents' house where there was stability, but I had to get out quickly because your mind is different once you do time. there is no going back once you do time. And I'm grateful for that. If you utilize it and you see it for what it is, you grow from that. And so I'm blessed for that. But not everybody has that opportunity. So I'm going to get scattered, guys, but I could just rattle off blessing after blessing that occurred for me because I saw something, I asked, I put the work in. When I was told no, I took it on the chin and then I tried again. And no meant try another way.
Yeah.
And so I just applied that policy with everything. I was given a housing grant through a new leaf, which allowed me to leave my parents' house and raise my children in a home by ourselves. Never had
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I completed that program, the first, one of the only to complete the program so well that they had to kick us out. And that's how things just developed. Once I was into working out again, I started to love myself. I learned a lot through podcasts and reading. And to be honest, I think I felt selfish. And as I practiced Stoicism, I realized that the best and greatest way to grow is to give it all away. And I only knew for the first time ever that I was good at something, and that was teaching. And I had something to teach, which was not just to survive, but to thrive after you've crawled your way out from the darkness.
From
And I
quite the
felt that it was my
darkness. Yeah.
duty. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was my duty. That's the thing is I just think that that's why we're here. And that was my duty to share that with everyone else. So I went back to school. I changed it to exercise science and I met Louise So. And I had already come up with this, philosophy when somebody puts an opportunity in front of you, you take it. And Louise posted something about Fitness Fest. And I said, okay, here we go. I'm going to volunteer. Actually, she posted it and I wanted to go. And it was, I asked Leona if the foundation would cover me to go. And she enlightened me with the idea, asked to volunteer. It didn't even occur to me that this was a thing. So I did that. And that's when I met you, Janice. And so many things developed from that moment, which takes us to up to last year.
Yeah. And
Behind this,
what everything that Kristen's telling me right now, well, actually everything you've said to date, I didn't know any of this. I just knew that I have been so touched by your story from the very first time when you opened up to me. I'm going to cry too. When the very first time when we were on that phone, I'm like, wow, I think I was crying when we talked. I was so touched at your your attitude and your openness and your vulnerability that you shared with me. You didn't know me from Adam. You just opened up and you said, this is what I want to do. This is my wish. This is my goal. I want to help women in the prisons. I'm like, wow. And then when I saw on LinkedIn, I think it was, what was it, last September, maybe, ish, that you were freaking doing it. I'm like you said before the call, I said, you did it. Like, I certainly remember that you said, this is my goal. And like so many of us have goals, not big goals like this. And we don't. Why don't we? Like you said, if someone says no, let me find another way. Someone says maybe, let me ask them again. Let me ask them a different way, or let me ask somebody else. So, been super touched and super inspired by your story and by your determination and your will. And we can all rewrite our stories. There's a lot of trauma and a lot of in people's lives, and we can look at, you have rewritten your story, so, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, whatever you want to say. So we're talking about Fitness Fest, and then you, which I didn't know until I saw it. I saw his name tagged on the, you tagged me that you were going to be on this show, and you tagged Kurt Magnum with ISSA. I'm like, what? I didn't know this happened. I love these stories. I mean, this is like a huge one because of your story, but the connections that people make at Fitness Fest that I find out about, and the ones I don't find out, like in-person events, and you being, you must have gone up and talked to him, like you didn't just, he wouldn't have known if you just sat there in the back of the room. Did you meet him was it at the panel? The panel he was in that you were talking to?
Yeah, it was actually, he was gonna speak, and I don't even know what he said. I just thought I should approach
He's
him, and
somebody,
I was
right?
not working his room. It just happened.
Oh, okay. I thought you were in the room that because I was on the panel. So okay, so for those of you who don't know, Kurt Magnum is an amazing human being, and he's with ISSA. I don't remember what his title is because he keeps moving up in the ranks. He will be at Fitness Fest this year too, by the way. But I told you before we got on the show as well that I met him and talked to him in 2023 Fitness Fest, and people you just remember people who make you feel a good way, in a good way. And he was very kind and very friendly and very open. And some people just, he was a vendor for ISSA. I think they had a table or something, and he took the time, to walk with me and talk with me and all that. So anyway, he's a big wig with ISSA. So you talked to him, and
Um, I didn't know at the time, but he has a heart for prison fellowship type programs in Chicago. And so putting my story on the line, he jumped on it. And we connected from that moment on. We have been in connection ever since. In fact, through Kurt, ISSA has sponsored both Megan, my wife, who is the co founder of Convicted Comeback, and I with our national certification for personal training, and has extended multiple certificates because we are working on taking certification into the inmates in multiple prisons. This
wow,
way, we can give the inmates something tangible for them
when they
to
get out.
have when
Yeah.
they get out. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Wow. That and as we all know, I mean, the reform for prisons is atrocious, and
Yes.
the resources and the hope. You were lucky to have your parents, and many don't. And then, I mean, we'll call that luck, but the rest of it is your determination and your motivation to make a difference in your own life so that you could make a difference in other people's lives. So you are now actually officially are you at Goodyear?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We're inside Perryville prison.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Oh, and how are they receiving you?
It is beyond words, to be honest. I mean, the biggest thing is I share my dark side, not to reminisce at all, but that is nothing compared to a lot of these women's dark side.
Yeah.
And I've seen it firsthand. I lived with it. I lived with these women, and it's always going to be dark for them. They don't have light at the end of the tunnel. They don't have the support. They don't have the education. They don't have the hope and the receiving arms out here on this side, let alone in there. The thing is I have received a lot of support, and that has grown me. But those women, they come out and they are our community. They are the mothers of the children of our following generations. And if we do not instill in them any better traits, and we do not instill in them growth and change, what are we doing to our community? It's not just them versus us, And when I realize that they come out and they die or they go back in, and there's
Yeah.
so much talent, and I hear
Hmm.
people say things about me, and I look at myself and I'm just a person. That's it. I don't think I'm any better than anyone else I did time with. So if somebody else, me or anyone else, could give them that same hope and chance at life, imagine how amazing we could
Whoa.
be.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And you are touching them and continue. I know you're going to continue to do it, and just how rewarding and encouraging that is, that you will make difference in somebody else's life, like the counselor and and uh and Leona and Louise and everybody have made for you, and to feel that in your heart, and I know I can tell by your passion and the way you talk, to feel that in your heart and know that you've made a difference in somebody's life is amazing. So keep doing that. So you talked to, we're going to wrap it up in a few minutes. So Kurt Magnum, who's going to be at Fitness Fest as well, where he's going to be part of the roundtable session. And that's a standalone session. We're really excited about that this year. We didn't do that last year, Kristen, but we're going to have no other things oppose the roundtable session on Friday morning at like 8:25, I think it is. And so there's like 11 different tables, 11 different speakers. Kurt is one of them. It just like, Tricia Murphy Madden is like, how would you like to be a master trainer? There's one on social media. So you pick, all the attendees pick 5 of the 11 or 12 topics and speakers, and they spend 15 minutes with each of them. You were actually, he was in the panel. You were in part of that round table, now that I'm thinking of it. One of them was a book writer. Yeah, Kristen Conti. So it's a standalone, nothing opposes. So it's going to be super, like, we want everyone to walk out with, this is aha moment. This is like, this is encouraging. This is what I'm looking for, and so that's that. So Kurt, and then you actually, I just found out from Louise, because Louise from Glendale Community College, we had a talk a month or so ago, and she told me that you actually got to talk to Cedric Bryant, who, like, anyone who's been in the fitness industry knows his name, Cedric from ACE. He's like, one of the gods. So, so you had a one-on-one conversation with him. And so what's going to go on with you and ACE? You're the president now?
So yes, so it's very exciting. But basically, we want to create education for the girls inside by extending to them certificate hours that they can obtain the education and knowledge while they're inside. And then once they come out, we're hoping to create a program where they can attend the community college and then take that education and turn it into a degree, just like I did. So we want to offer that to them, and Cedric is
very
really
instrumental.
supportive of that.
If anyone can do it, you and Cedric can do it, and you and Kurt, and that's just great. And you, like you said, like, you talk to Kurt and you go like, okay, I'm not going to stop there. Who's next? Cedric Bryant from ACE, and who knows who else you're talking to. And thank you. I'm so glad you're going to be helping out with Fitness Fest again, because like you saw, the connections you make and the energy that's there and the great vibe that's there, the fitness, the wellness, the education, the people you meet, and everyone's like, everyone's on a high, because fitness, wellness, and our health, what's more important, right? And also our hope, and our and our inspiration for ourselves, and our self-care for ourselves, so that we can go back and give to others. Like, if we're a personal trainer, or a group exercise instructor, or that yoga instructor, or that fitness enthusiast who wants to better themselves so they can better their family. We have a great workshop on toxins in your home. There's so many great different lectures, workouts, workshops, roundtable, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a great time. I just want to make sure everybody knows that the prices do go up at the end of the day, midnight Mountain Standard Time this Sunday. We've got a great college deal going on for Glendale Community College. We're working with ASU. We're working on Pima Community College and Mesa Community College. So if you go to, anyone listening, if they go to those colleges and they're in the program, be sure to reach out to us. You can email me personally at janice@fitnessfest.org, and I'll share that information. Or if you happen to go to GCC, Louise has got all the info. We have a great slideshow that we shared with Louise and all the other colleges. So prices go up. What else did I want to mention? Yeah. So remember, everybody, that you can change, you can rewrite your story. And because Kristen sure did. And how can anyone who's listening, because this has been a very inspiring story, how can anyone who's listening help you? What can they do for because you've created this this company, this organization called Convicted Comeback. Comeback is uppercase, I see, and strong. So how can anybody reach out to you and help you? And so that
Thank
then
you,
more people
Janice.
can help. Yeah.
Thank you for asking. And yes, it is strong. Comeback is the big part of it. Rewriting your story is basically what we coach to the women. It is not end. It's not the end because you are incarcerated. So we have a website, convictedcomeback.com. And on there, we have tabs for donations. We are a nonprofit. We are completely privately funded. And so any support that we get from the community is how we run things. And we just give that back to the women. So. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking.
Well, it's just so wonderful to hear because, like I said, like the prison reform and the chances of these women and any prisoner who, and they're not all horrible, evil people, right? They come from trauma or they come from abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, whatever they come from. But they can turn their story around. And just like, let's even just take people who have not been in prison. We can all do good. We can all rewrite our story. Everyone's got some sort of trap in their lives or trauma in their lives, whether it's little or big. And we can all be a better human being, and we can all practice self-care and heal ourselves so that we can give back to our community. Like you mentioned, community more than once. So whether it's to our students, our clients, our family, let's make this world a better place, period. Human kindness. So remember to reach out to Kristin for any help with the prisons and helping more women, one Perryville prison at a time, right? And getting out to more and more, because this is just an amazing project. So thank you so much. We will see you in just 5 or 6 weeks. Fitness Fest is April 3rd through the 6th, and it's fitnessfest.org/FF25. But we've got a lot of discounts going on. We want to see more college kids. We need younger blood. We want to see more college students involved in live events in the fitness world. We need more personal trainers. We need more group exercise instructors. We're dying out, us old folks. So come join us. It's lots of energy and lots of fun. So thank you, Plexi, for putting the website in there, and this will get streamed. I know that's not the word, but that's the word I use, over to Facebook, Fitness Fest Facebook page, and Friends of Fitness Fest. And thank you, everybody. And thank you, Kristin. You're lovely. And I'm so inspired by you and looking forward to seeing you. Keep going, and let me know personally, or Fitness Fest know if there's anything that we can do, because
Thank you
this is a
so
great
much.
cause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.